Hi guys, Cav here. A couple of important things to be looking for as you're reading Lord of the Flies. You should have a notepad or a piece of paper and be looking for these examples as you're going. So one of the assignments you're going to write is a symbolism essay, but it's more like a symbolism checklist. You're going to find me, I think it's 5 symbols, and you're going to write them down and tell me what they are and share them with your class. So those symbolism is when an author has an object that represents something else. Right? So in Lord of the Flies, one of the biggest symbols is the conch shell, which represents law and order and the society and civilization and other things. Figure it out. There's a lot of symbols in the book. And so that conch shell represents something else other than just being a shell. So that's the example of symbolism. If you have any questions on that, please send me an email, give me a call, talk to me during our Zoom session. We can talk about it and I'll help you get there. The other thing that you're going to be looking for is an example of foreshadowing. Now, foreshadowing is when you have an author who is putting hints at what's coming next. This is why we reread books. So, how many of you have read the book Holes? You're not responding to me. I'm assuming you are, but I can't hear you. Okay. I'm assuming some of you said yes. The first time you read Holes, you don't know what the mystery is going to be. The second time you read Holes, you can go back and see all the different ways that Louis Satcher put those little breadcrumbs in so you could figure out the mystery as you were going. The mystery doesn't just come out of left field. He leads up to it, and that's what foreshadowing is. So in Lord of the Flies, there's a lot of foreshadowing for events that are going to happen later. If there's a part in a book, for example, in Lord of the Flies, where a character says, "Man, it's a good thing no one's tripped over that vine yet," you would write in your notebook, character just said, "Good thing no one tripped over that vine yet." Foreshadowing, someone will trip. There's a couple ways you can do this. You guys have a PDF, so you can either print it out and write directly on the PDF, underline what you're looking for. The text is 160 pages, so you could also have it as a PDF or a download and just add notes into the PDF, like sticky tabs on the actual computer itself. I mean, not on the computer, don't stick. You know what I'm saying. You all know computers better than I do, I'm sure. So that would be a way to do that. The other thing, the final thing that you're looking for is an allusion. Allusion is spelled Allusion. And an allusion is different than an illusion. So an illusion is like magic tricks, when things look like something they're not. An allusion is a literary device, and what it means is it's an author referencing another book in their book. There's 2 reasons you could do this. One would be just free advertising. You're like, I liked this book. Everyone should read it. I'm referencing it in my book. Hopefully that'll get some traction for this other book. The other possibility is that an author is wanting to get everyone in on a shared joke. Allusions are usually to things that people have read a lot of, if it's not for advertising purposes. So a big popular allusion in a lot of things that we read in schools would be the Bible, because a lot of the things that we read were written at a time when the Bible was the big thing that everybody knew. So if an author is trying to get across a certain point, let's say that he's talking about a woman and he thinks she's sneaky. This particular segue and views on women are not responded or held by any staff members at this high school or the current teacher. So here's the deal. In the scripture, Adam and Eve eat the apple, right? But a lot of theologians have for a long time said that it was Eve's fault because she picked the apple off the tree, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So if Shakespeare is wanting to write a story about a lady who's sneaky and is going to cause the downfall of her husband, he might be like, and she took the apple. And all the audience members listening to the play would be like, she took the apple. She's pulling an Eve. She's being sneaky. Because that's part of their shared knowledge. So they all get that reference. And if you have those references, everyone who's reading or watching is like, okay, I feel smart, because it's like a big inside joke that everybody gets, the author puts in. So as we're reading through Lord of the Flies, I do want you to keep an eye out for any allusions. William Golding will mention Coral Island, Treasure Island, swallows and Amazons. He'll also talk a lot about adventure stories, like we should be able to figure this out, because that's what you do in an adventure. That kind of thing will pop up, so that's an example of an allusion. The other big allusion in Lord of the Flies is the character names, and this is twofold. So when William Golding decided he wanted to write this book, because he hated Coral Island. He stole the personalities from the kids in his classroom, but he stole the names from Coral Island. So all the names of our main characters, and our main characters are Jack, Roger, Ralph, Piggy, Simon. Jack, Roger, Ralph, Piggy, Simon. 5. There's 5 of them. Roger's like a secondary main character. He gets more important later. But the characters of Jack, Ralph, and Peter were the 3 main characters in Coral Island. So William Golding just like stole those names. Except for the name Peter. Which is interesting, though, because basically what he did was he took Peter and split him like a little amoeba into 2 characters, Simon and Piggy. So I think Piggy's real name is Peter, because it makes sense. And also, it's also an allusion to Scripture, because the guy named Peter in Scripture the guy named Peter in Scripture's real name was Simon. So William Golding took the character Peter and split him into 2 dudes, Simon and Peter. So he's referencing Scripture. He's also referenced, which everyone who was reading it would be like, oh, that's clever. And he's referencing Coral Island. So kind of just driving home that point, like, look at how these characters are acting. Another important thing to think about when reading Lord of the Flies, Jack is 16. Ralph is 12. Simon and Piggy are both 10. And Roger is 15. So when Roger is a leader, that's why. When Jack is upset because he's not the leader, that's why. Imagine that you are passed over to be leader for a 12-year-old. You're not going to be pleased. So that's kind of what's happening. And some context there. Also, as you're reading, when you get to chapter 3, there is a 6-month time jump. There's a 6-month time jump, I'm pretty sure, because their fingernails are quite a bit longer, their hair is longer. Some people will argue that it's a 2-week time jump, but that doesn't make sense to me based on the information that we have in the text. That your hair does not grow that fast. So it makes more sense that it's just a substantial time jump, and that's where we're at. So that's some more information on Lord of the Flies. That's what you're looking for as you're reading. Please feel free to jump in on the Zoom session, send me an email or a message. If you have any questions, I'll add a couple discussion boards, but I do want you to kind of be thinking through this on your own. But I will add a discussion board that we're going to call Lord of the Flies Feelings. Maybe we'll go per chapter. Let me know how you would feel about that. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you for being so awesome. You're an awesome group of remote learners, and I appreciate you. If you're watching this and you're in my regular classes on campus, you are also awesome. And thank you for rewatching this. I hope it was helpful. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Bye.